I'm putting together the video for the Royal Lochnagar 12 after 1 year. I might as well pour this little baby right away. This is a Tomintoul 16-year-old at 40% oak casks. I'm guessing comes in one of these cute little bottles with a cute little cork. It's a Macallan bottle, and obviously, if you've been watching my videos a lot, you know that this one came from Jackass. And I don't know if it's an official bottle or not, but if I'm going to guess, since it says oak casks on it, this is probably one of those Battle Hill offerings that the likes of which Jackass has sent me quite a few. So I'm going to let this one sit and open up for 15 minutes or so while I finish putting together the video about the Royal Lochnagar. Okay, so here I am again, having put together and posted the video for the Royal Lochnagar 10. It was the Royal Lochnagar 12. It's about 10 minutes. That's where the 10 came from. No, it's about 15 minutes after I poured this glass of Tomintoul 16-year-old at 40% oak casks. So I'm guessing that this is an independent bottling. I know it's sent to me by Jackass. I don't think it's an official bottling. The only official bottling of Tomintoul that I have ever had was a Tomintoul 14 that I finished last summer when I was camping. And I found that the Tomintoul 14, which was bottled, I believe, at 46% alcohol by volume, did not have all that much flavor to it. It was very subtle, and it didn't have a lot going for it. But this seems to have more to it. On the nose, I'm getting some if this is natural color, it's probably got some sherry cask in it. I'm getting a kind of a woody note. Reminds me of the smell of those little chunks that come out of the back end of a chainsaw when you're cutting a log. Now the log is what kind of wood? A wet sappy wood. Something that reminds me of smoke is happening here. I don't know if it's a wood smoke. I don't believe it's a peat smoke. Oh. Now I'm getting something more opening up here. It's fruity. It's caramel and berries and plums. I get that plum note. Berries. It reminds me of wine a little bit. Tannins, perhaps. Wine. So it says oak cask, but it doesn't say what kind of oak cask. I'm imagining there's some kind of sherry involved here. But instead of it being like a dark dried fruits, it's more like medium ripe fruits, like grapes, and maybe a bit of fig, but not dried out. I'm getting some red wine on here. A little bit of vanilla. Nah, maybe not vanilla. A very faint alcohol burn. It's like something yeasty, even. Yeasty, like a yeasty red wine. A bit of butterscotch. I'm thinking a Christmas fruitcake a little bit. You know, with the big dried out cherries and the little pieces of cubed candied fruits. Bit of raisins, maybe. Sultanas. There's some complexity hiding in here, I think. Now I'm getting a bit of pineapple. Wow, this is a far cry from the Tomintoul. I had the 14-year-old Tomintoul that was bottled at 46%. That one had almost no nose. But this one has quite a few things going on the nose. There's a winey, grapey, a little bit of yeasty. Then the ripe fruits. And this is at 40%, eh? Wow. Let's see what it tastes like. Because it smells really nice. Hmm. I'm getting pencil shavings right on the forefront. Pencil shavings followed by what reminds me of sangria. So that woody note that I was getting on the nose at first translates to pencil shavings on the palate, and now I'm getting some fruity, winey sangria kind of notes to it. And it's really mild on the palate. I don't think the palate is giving what was promised by the nose, because the nose is quite complex, and it keeps changing every time I take a breath in. I get a little something else, but now that I've tasted it, still the nose is wonderful. Let me have a glass, a bit of water first. 16 years old. And the nose is quite complex. But so far the palate has let me down. However, the first sip is not the defining sip. Usually the second or third, it gets a little better. The first sip is just like a whistle wetter, and it's like an introduction, but you don't get to know it with an introduction. You get to know it with a little more experience. Let's try it now again. Okay. Fruits, ripe fruits, coating the mouth all over. Ripe fruits. Sangria. Sangria coating the mouth all over. It's grapey and berry, like strawberry, raspberry. And then when the initial grapiness has worn off, there's just a dry mouth with a dried out kind of grapey, berry kind of aftertaste, probably from what sherry casks they used. It's not a sweet. It's not a sweet one. It's more of a dry. It's dry in the finish. Now, from what I understand, the Pedro Jimenez is the sweeter sherry cask. I have no information here on Tomintoul 16-year-old 40% other than it says oak casks. It doesn't say what oak casks. I know there's some sherry influence, definitely. But I think it's a mixture of, I don't think it's first fill sherry casks. It's probably second and third fill. There might be some bourbon barrels involved here. But if there are bourbon barrels involved here, they are also not first fill. So, while I'm getting an interesting nose, the, palate seems to be lacking somewhat. Let's try it again. Once again, fruity, medium fruits, plums, grapes, ripe fruits, not dried fruits. But then it just gets dry and it just fades. It's not exactly the kind of thing that I would go for. It's not the kind of flavor profile that I'm looking for. It doesn't have the punch. Once again, 40%, it could use 43, I think. 43 would make a big difference. 43 would make a big difference over 40. The 16-year-old, well, the question is, was it in these sherry casks from beginning, maybe not. Maybe it's finished. Or if it was in sherry casks from the very beginning, they were kind of weak sherry casks that didn't have a lot to give. So let's see what our little cheers device will give us this time. Last time it gave us a l'chaim. Let's try now. I don't know what kind of cheers that was, but slanchava.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Yeah.